Today is January 10, 2024. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, a few things today. The good news, mainly good news today, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case coming from the state of Idaho. It is called Idaho versus United States. So you can tell right there the people making the challenge is the U.S. government, i.e., the Biden administration. Oral argument is scheduled for April, so the decision will be released or handed down sometime probably in the summer. Idaho passed the Defense of Life Act, making it a crime for abortionists to perform an abortion unless it was necessary to save the life, the physical life of the mother. Well, that was challenged by the Biden administration. Biden people claim that the law violates an act passed in 1986 called the Emergency Medical Treatment in Labor Act. So that was passed during the Ronald Reagan presidency. The Biden people also claim that the law denies women critical emergency abortion care required by federal law. Now, I did talk about this, I believe, last week, but this case is progressing now that it's going to be heard by the Supreme Court. But even though it's been challenged, the Supreme Court has decided to allow the law to remain in effect until they make their decision. Initially, it was heard by a lower district court that ruled against Iowa, and that was appealed by the pro-lifers. And at the appellate court level, the circuit court level, the law was upheld. So the district court ruling was reversed. And then when the appellate court handed a pro-life verdict, that was appealed by the Biden Justice Department. So that's kind of where we stand. The question before the court is whether this 1986 act mandates that doctors provide abortions when they claim it is necessary to stabilize treatment for an emergency medical treatment. According to the Biden administration, quote, it forces doctors to leave Idaho in order to obtain access to abortion in another state. To get the health care women need, restricting abortion should, this is still part of the quote, restricting abortion should never happen in America. Because, of course, according to Biden and the pro-abortion people, abortion is health care. Now, that's just one aspect of health care, abortion. So, of course, they're going to want to make sure that is protected and that states cannot restrict that procedure. Well, the High Court's going to determine this case in 2024. Said a representative from the Family Research Council, quote, abortion doesn't stabilize anyone. Intentionally killing an innocent human being isn't health care. It's not emergency medicine. It is murder, unquote. Well, amen to that. Abortion is murder, the deliberate killing of another human being. Okay, let's turn the corner. I talked last week about this petition drive in Florida. It's like our Proposal 3. It would enshrine abortion rights in the Florida Constitution. The pro-abortion side needs 900,000 valid signatures to place it on the ballot. Now remember, in Michigan, you need about 250,000 valid signatures. But remember, Florida has probably 3 times more people than we do. So they need a lot more signatures to put a referendum on the ballot. So they needed 900,000. Well, late last week, the pro-abortion forces, this coalition, submitted 920,000 signatures. So they have a 20,000 number cushion. And I looked at that number and I I thought, man, when Right to Life in Michigan does petition drives, we try to make sure that we get at least 100,000 signatures in excess of what we really need, because when the Board of Canvassers go through these petition forms, they're looking for reasons to reject names. So you've got people who aren't registered to vote. Well, those names are tossed out. You may sign the form on the wrong for the wrong county. Well, that gets tossed out. You may sign. You may fill out the form incorrectly. Well, that gets tossed out. If the petition circulator doesn't sign his or her name, the whole page is rejected. So there are reasons why signatures can be rejected. So that 20,000 is an awfully small cushion from my vantage point here, 3,000 miles away from Florida. But unless they have different rules than we do, but that 20,000 signature cushion is an extremely low number. And then also, I talked about this too last time. According to Florida law, as far as what I can tell, according to the state law, if you're going to have a constitutional change referendum, not just a traditional referendum, but one that actually changes the state constitution, you need a 60% approval from the voters. That is an awfully high threshold to reach, 60%. And so I think Florida's a pro-life state. They've got a good, strong pro-life governor. He's been elected twice. And this last time, he was elected by 19% of the vote. There's a lot of Floridians who are of Cuban or Puerto Rican descent, strong family values, whether Catholic or otherwise, strong families. And I really believe that the voters will vote against this, if it even gets this far, but they'll reject this referendum. Okay, last item. This is good news. Good news regarding pregnancy care centers. The pro-life movement it has this pie that's made up of all these groups, whether it's 40 Days for Life, people who picket, people who pray at clinics, the Right to Life, like Right to Life in Michigan, that is more involved in electing pro-life lawmakers and governors and drafting pro-life legislation. So we're kind of that political arm of the pro-life movement. But then you've got pregnancy care centers that are on the front lines ministering to women in need who are facing crisis pregnancies, encouraging them to choose life for that baby. And the Charlotte Lozier Institute, which I believe, at least it used to be, an arm of the Susan B. Anthony List, a pro-life organization, they have issued a report called Hope for a New Generation. It's a report on the health and status of pregnancy care centers. And I'm just got some good stats here for you. They surveyed 2,750 pregnancy care centers. In 2020, these centers recorded a total of more than 16 million client visits. Now, sometimes, you may have a client who comes in for clothing, and that client may come in, 3 or 4 or 5 times a year to get clothing. And so it's not necessarily 16 million separate individual people. Some of these people could be coming back, repeat clients for some services like clothing. So don't be misled by that. But still, 16 million visits, in person or virtual. They provided over $358 million worth of goods and services, clothes, diapers, baby formula, new car seats, child furniture. These centers saw more than, now here's a good number, they saw more than 974 New clients, not repeat clients, but new clients. 97% of clients reported having a positive experience being ministered to by these pregnancy care centers. 81% of the centers provided more than 517,000 ultrasounds performed by registered nurses, licensed sonographers, and other licensed medical professionals. And the pro-abortion people, the pro-abortion senators like Elizabeth Warren and others, they have called these clinics, these centers, fake clinics, because they're claiming that we're giving out false information and that the employees there are not licensed health professionals. Well, that is not true. They are doctors, nurses, RNs, licensed sonographers, and other licensed professionals. It's not just a bunch of random volunteers with no medical experience. That is not true. These people provide an experienced professional visit, and experience, advice, recommendations, treatments done by professionals. Okay, the percentage of pregnancy care centers that provide abortion pill reversal, we talked about that before too, has more than doubled to 27%. 27% of all of these 2,750 pregnancy care centers provide abortion pill reversal treatment. That is amazing. And with that good news, I'll let you go now. See you next time.